Travis Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCorney.
Here.
Jeremy Hansen.
Here.
Jason Lacy.
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. On the consent agenda, I need to make one change before we vote on that. We've got an invoice from WEC Plumbing for repair of a water main under First Street. This was way back in February. They sent us an invoice, but we had already wrote a check to People Services for the payment in that amount. That People Services paid for it and we're reimbursing them.
Correct.
So it shows in the People Service payment. We need to make the motion excluding the payment of $6,936 we see plumbing.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item G. The WEC plumbing payment of $6,936.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. All right. We need to do B, C, and D separately, right?
Yes. No.
Those are all included. Okay.
These are all.
Yep.
Sorry, I should have highlighted these.
Okay, item 5, approval of minutes from the October 17th, 2022 liquor license hearing and regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 17th, 2022 liquor license hearing and regular meeting.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the October 17th, 2022 liquor license hearing and regular board meeting as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 6A. Discussion regarding generator for the Village Hall auditorium.
So we tabled that from last time and looking at options, I guess, for the cost that we're looking at for the generator for just this building. My suggestion would be to look at being able to do a transfer switch both in this location and the auditorium. So we have the capability of having 2 locations that we could run in case of emergencies
From the one generator.
from one generator.
And it'll power both of those.
If, I mean, it has to be, so,
Not at the same time.
no,
It'd be a portable.
it would be one or the other,
Okay.
but based on the need.
Yeah.
I just look at it this way from an emergency standpoint. If this building's gone and we don't have anywhere to go, right, or vice versa, if you need a shelter, we're gonna put it all into here and then, may not have the option to do it there.
What's the deal with the other generator? That's, is it mobile? The one that's in the old water tower?
That's been so long. Dan Douglas was kind of ramrodding that for a while. I haven't talked to him. It's a propane generator. I'm not.
We had talked about putting that one down at the auditorium and I don't know why it never got done.
Don't we pour the pad even?
No.
Oh, we never did pour the pad?
No. I don't know that it's big enough to run the entire auditorium. I think it might, maybe that was just for the fire hall. I think Dan wanted it for the fire hall. There again, that was right when I was first
Yeah.
kind of the transition point, so I don't really recall. I could do some more checking into it again. I know it was running at one point. And I don't know how big it is. I
Maybe
mean,
we need to talk to Dan and see if he had plans for it, if he could use it or what, but I don't know if that matters much for this.
well, that's not really a portable unit.
Yeah.
either, so.
I don't remember what it was. I just know that we were gonna be able to move it to the auditorium at one point. Yeah, I'll talk to Dan on that, find out what
I can.
he remembered, yeah.
He recalls, because I know he's got a background in electrician, so he was kind of overseeing that project. It kind of just stopped, I don't know why it stopped, but it did.
So what do we need to do then with this? We need to get somebody to price us a different switch and,
I would say, well, my recommendation would be, let's get bids to see what it would run. Set a transfer switch here, set a transfer switch at the auditorium, and then size out a generator. You know, you may not be able to do 48 kW, right? But if you find a 36 kW that will run mainly everything you need here, and then run the heat and the stuff at the auditorium.
and then
Lights.
does running wire for almost 2 blocks or whatever, does that reduce the capacity of that generator if we run it all the way to the auditorium, or?
No, we wouldn't run it from here to there. The generator itself would come either to here or to there. And it would be a short run then from the generator to the transfer switch.
It'd be on a trailer.
It would be on the generator would be on a trailer.
Oh, okay.
That would be,
We would
be
be
able
able to
to
take it to
move.
whichever
Yeah.
location we
It'd be
want.
stored somewhere.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
But if the cost can be done where you can get both locations
Yeah.
to be serviceable, it just gives us more options in case of emergency. The way that I look at it.
Mhm. Well, yeah, let's check into that. Get some estimates and then we can discuss this further. Item B, discussion and possible approval of engineering for the walking trail to the fairgrounds. Did we verify that everything was okay with the school going through their property?
I emailed Dawn about it. She was supposed to check with, she said that she didn't see any trouble with it. They won't be able to contribute financially to the construction of the trail, but she didn't foresee any issues with building the trail through that property.
So is this like the street projects where we can pull out the design fees and get that done?
I'm sure that's, you're just doing the design fee, you're not doing the actual.
Sorry, it's professional services. I think that's the 42,000, right?
I don't think.
I'm sorry.
Are you on page 25? Oh,
It's the same as the streets, yes. You're only approving the design fees, you're not approving the the engineer, what's the other one on there?
overhead legal fees and
Yeah,
then total construction.
Yeah, you're not doing all that. Yeah, you're just doing the design of it. Which would be your blueprints.
Surveying and engineering,
And surveying, you're gonna need the surveying to be done probably too.
construction administration. We wouldn't need the construction administration. Oh, is it? I
No,
wonder if it's more broke down than that.
so I would think that on the bottom line 1, professional consulting services, survey engineering. Oh,
That'd be like
Find
the bid letting and all that stuff, right? Construction.
yeah, if they're gonna say construction and then we don't want to pay for that yet.
What is the design fee on there? Is there just a design fee?
It says surveying and engineering.
The
There's no, it doesn't say
engineering
design.
fee, which includes design, bidding and construction services, is 42,270. Design fee would be 22,000.
I think that's what we would be design fee.
So it's just that 22,000, which is.
They don't have it broke out that way on here.
Ours doesn't.
On
It's in the
the
email that he sent with it, which I think I had in the original packet about it.
This would be to do the 8-foot trail, right, down
that drawing.
Right.
to this portion here.
5-foot trail, 5-foot concrete trail
I think it's
for what?
It's an 8-foot trail, Paul.
It says eight
The
foot.
5 foot's only on.
5 foot is just the sidewalk.
Oh, is that-
Scroll down, you'll see the picture right there.
Okay,
So it's all that.
5 foot is, yes, okay. Do you see 8-foot trail called out in their estimate on page 25?
Mm-mm. 5 foot concrete, 6 foot or 6-inch concrete driveway. So they're just saying 5-inch thick concrete trail. They're not saying how wide it is.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
5-inch, okay.
On number 7.
Yep, yep, that makes sense. So they've got the square footage figured out on the 5 and the 8 all lumped together. So 5 and 8 foot, okay. So do we have a number for the design fees?
This 22,000.
22,005, what?
22,000.
Okay. Well, I would think this would be just like the streets where if we get this done and out of the way, we don't pay 10% more next year or whatever their increase is next year, and we can budget for it. Maybe get it in next year's budget or.
Also figure out the cost and start looking at grants, and the fair board can figure out what they might be able
If they want to
contribute.
contribute. And we're going into this not knowing if we're gonna get any help on it, but there's a chance. And
Because the majority of it would be through the school districts.
yeah,
So do we have to sign some kind of agreement with them, I'm assuming?
I would imagine they'd have to give us an easement.
Well,
Before construction started, yeah.
Parks Committee, thoughts?
I still wanted to talk to the people that lived along the existing trail, to talk about going straight down the hill. I still think we should be exploring that as well. I know, Paul, we talked a while back and you were gonna visit with him because you knew the guy.
Okay. I thought we couldn't do that because you have to zigzag through so much to go down that slope. I thought we were.
Nobody
done with
has any
that.
record of that.
What are we talking about now? Sorry.
Going straight off the existing trail.
Straight down the hill, that's what Travis is saying.
I don't think that's gonna be an option unless we just take the land from them. They're not interested. Neither party is interested.
And the trail, JEO said that the trail can't go straight down the hill. It would have to zigzag back. and forth.
Zigzag back. There's too much slope. That's what they said.
Probably kind of like this section does too, how it has to zigzag through there, I suppose. It blows my mind to think that it's feasible to go through here. Have you ever walked through here?
We did. yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, God, it just seems like that'd be even tougher. Cause that's where that big gully washout is.
No,
So,
you're the other side of it. You're the washout. You go over that, there's a culvert that goes over that washout. It's like a drive, which is on our property, like right behind, I don't know if you know anybody that lives in Rod Greavy's.
Yeah, I know, Rod.
Yep, there, it goes right behind his house and then it goes down from there. You don't go just right off the road. I mean, you can go off.
So the drawing isn't necessarily,
It is fairly accurate.
Then it comes out kind of back in the corner where,
Turns out, yeah, but where that upper field used to be.
Yeah.
in that area.
and is the trail just gonna stop there then?
That's up to.
For now,
That's up
for now, until the fair
Yeah.
decides to do something.
Eventually, they would like, the fair would like to connect to it.
I think in their grand scheme of things, they would like to have more camping spots around the water and maybe a trail that goes around that too.
yeah, that was the old vision with Gary,
Yeah,
for sure, when he came and visited with us. Cause he was talking all the way down around here.
You're right, he doesn't have it going in the right, really the right spot. It's down a little farther, but not terribly.
To the west, more.
I would
closer to
consider that
Greaves.
closer to Greavy's or the other house next to Greavy's.
Gotcha.
Almost in Greavy's, in the corner right there of their two backyards.
and did we ask him that day? Or did we think we would need an easement from Griefy?
He said that they'd have to do a survey on it, but he doesn't know where the property line is.
Yeah.
Nor do I.
But in both of our talks with Jacobs, he didn't seem to be interested in a meandering trail. He wanted something on the edge of the property line.
He wanted us to stay off of his property.
Yeah.
Basically,
Or be on the very edge of it.
I never.
And going straight.
I never even got that impression.
Yeah.
I just got the impression he really didn't want about his property. And I don't know if this has to be done today. I mean, we have to approve it today or anything, but if you guys care to walk that path, I mean, you have to look at it.
Well, if we don't have an approval for, if we don't have a good feeling from the Parks Committee on this, we can table it. You want to table this, Travis? I mean, we got to have a recommendation from the Parks Committee. If you guys aren't comfortable yet or don't want to do this.
Is it Jeremy now then? Is that who it is?
Yeah,
I
Jeremy.
said, I don't know.
And you missed out on all the original meetings, I think.
Yeah. It's
We can
fairly new for me.
We can touch it down, we can go walk there or whatever. But
Let's do that.
I mean, I did talk to the one landowner and he did not seem interested at all in this, going through his land. And
Oh,
I don't know what kind of a slope you need for handicap accessible. I have no idea. That's,
Well, I wonder if you can make it like, well, maybe laws might have changed too, but if you make it like, I'm just throwing that out there. Like the trail all along Bell, not Bell Creek Park, but the Two Rivers Park. Where they built the things that stick out where you can pause or whatever.
yeah, and I don't know if they're more worried about, yeah, and that's a fairly decent incline there, but
It makes sense. I mean, if it's got a wind, that ain't gonna work. I agree that with that. Where I'm struggling a little bit is I'm trying to figure out the slope on the
On where?
path up by Bell Street
Yeah, were you there that day that we walked it
with
with Steve Parr?
the new area.
The one that he's proposing.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I never heard him say that it wouldn't work. It was just, they were looking at the trail that we proposed first through the trees. And I never heard him say that it wouldn't work. I think we kind of tabled the whole conversation, waiting to see if we talked to that landowner later to see if it was just something we explore.
Yeah.
Obviously, there'd have to
I
be,
think there was two conversations going that day, and I don't think that you and I heard all of that, because when I talked to John about this, he said, yeah, Steve doesn't want to go that way because he said.
maybe that's why I'm reluctant, because I didn't hear all the
And
conversation.
so once I heard that, I thought, well, there's no sense in going any further, because the first guy only wanted a straight line at the edge of his property. And there was two more people to talk to. And if he wasn't interested in zigzagging through there, I figured it was a moot point.
But I wonder if he would be just asking if, like how this has the stops. That's still straight, but then it would have a stop. I don't know if that's, I'm not an engineer.
Well, we can go take a look at it sometime, but it's get some decent weather.
Well, there's no sense in pushing this till everybody's comfortable.
And we've got more. time.
If Jeremy hasn't even had a look at the options, I think it's fair to get him involved in.
Let's walk it
Yeah.
and just see.
I don't think we have to have it done in the next month anyway, so. All right. We'll table that one. Check and see if we need to put that on next month, or if we can, I don't know what the weather will hold, if we can get down there and look, so. We'll figure that out for next month. Item A, I believe this is on hold, the liquor license, we haven't heard anything from the state for sure, so
They're still looking
I'm not sure if they're even open
at it.
right
They're
now.
not open.
Are they waiting on us for this purpose or something else?
No, they're not waiting on us.
They have a temporary liquor license through December or something, so they're not waiting on us, and I talked to the state. And they didn't know that they weren't open. And as she started looking through the paperwork, realized that they didn't have everything that they needed either, so she was going to try and contact him. So,
Yeah, I think they have until, if something changes, I think they have until after our next meeting for their temporary license, so we could still do something then. If things turn around for them. So we'll table that if needed. Item B, streets, I don't think we've had anything going. We're having street sweeper issues, we're trying to stop having problems with the street sweeper, so we've got an estimate on that. I didn't have anything else streetwise, did you? No.
I did get an estimate from the place that we bought the sweeper. It's a bearing on the main conveyor that's out. I've been doing some research into it a little bit. I think that I feel McQueen gave us an estimate of $8,376 to repair it. With that being 4,440 of it labor. I did get an estimate from another contractor, S2 Services out of Fremont. They said that they thought they could do the labor for 2,600. And I don't think that we're gonna need that the amount of parts that they have in there. Here, I can just hand this to you guys. So- Oh, look at it.
Only got a couple copies of it. This is the McQueen. These are the parts the ones that are circled are the ones that I think I'm gonna need. Well, I think you've seen it. Yeah.
Ones that are circled are the parts I think I'm gonna need. I would just ask your permission for me to make my best judgment on this. And do the most feasible thing. Hopefully that who I talked to with S2 said he's never worked on one, but he came and looked at it and said, it doesn't look like it's nothing we can't handle. And he just kind of did a rough estimate on hours, would it take him and another guy to do it. I would suggest going with that. I'm having a rough time with the Queen though, because they don't want to sell the parts. They want to do the work. But
It's my limited search on this. It's like they have a monopoly on fixing those machines. And
but I don't see why they can't. They've sold us parts before, so I'm just gonna tell them, no, I just want the parts. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't budget $5,000 a year to repair a $30,000 piece of equipment. I mean,
yeah,
so in labor, that I would just, if you give me your blessing on just going forward with the best thing for the village and getting this thing back up and running.
and I would have a good feeling about S2, that contractor. I know who that is, and
He's done work for us before on our dump truck, so
Yeah.
he does a good job.
kind of tough to give an open-ended.
Yeah, and even with the parts, I might have to run back down to Lincoln and get more parts if
So-
we're missing something.
Let's say we used all the parts McQueen said, and you can buy them from McQueen, and then the labor from S2, what would our total be?
Well, the parts that McQueen has listed here are $3,936 plus 2,500 or 2,600, an estimate on that. And that could be a little low, could be high. He said that's just an estimate.
Well, if the belt conveyor is looking good, there's no reason to.
Yes, and it does. It looks good. That's why I circled the ones that I thought that we need. We do need a new broom. One of the two of them brooms. I don't know which one we need. He didn't know for sure. I just went with the more expensive one.
At the bottom, John?
Yeah, those are the two brooms. Like, he didn't know which one we had on there.
So if you included one of those brooms, the expensive one, it's $1754.11.
Yep, I got 1754.38 is what I
Oh.
remember. But yeah, yep.
That's the parts total?
That's what I.
Well, he
come up
circled.
with. If. We didn't.
We approve
need
it up to 7,986, and then if you can get it done cheaper at Sawyer, then it gets it done cheaper at Sawyer.
Is that good with you, John?
Yeah, that's fine. And if it comes back outrageous again, I'll just table it till next month. I mean, I just want to get this rolling, so I can, if I catch it some nice days, I can go out and pick leaves up again. Hopefully they work.
You got a number of them.
more.
Let's see. Go ahead. Make that motion.
So just,
What was the amount, Jason?
whatever that is, what is it? Or, right, or that's, oh, that's
If you
subtotal,
go with all their parts and the other labor,
so 8,300. $8,376.35. So we could just make a motion to not
not
exceed,
to exceed that, just in case they won't sell me the parts, I guess.
yeah, so that way you can have them do it if they won't sell you the
I'm
parts.
gonna try and save money, but
Yeah, no, I know you are. So I'm gonna move that. To fix the street cleaner to not exceed $8,376.35. Either utilizing McQueen or S2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve repairs to the street sweeper. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCormick.
Aye.
Jeremy Henson.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Paul Krebs.
Aye. All right, water sewer. James, what do you have for us?
On our X-Ripper grinder, I do not have any updates. We're probably still 4 to 8 weeks out. So we get that grinder in. So we're still manually
We don't even have a ship date yet, or?
nothing. We haven't heard anything, so. On the skated equipment, I've been working with a guy named Randy now from HOA. Joe Booth is no longer with HOA. This Randy guy's looking over the quote from last year. He's gonna update it, obviously. Everything's gone up, so he's gotta update those prices. There's a guy named Dustin Decker from Jetco, who's been coming out and touring the facilities, take a look at all the equipment. He's gonna put together a quote for us. Tomorrow and Wednesday, I will be doing fall hydrant flushing. I think that's all I got for you.
You ended up passing the grade 3 water operators test.
Yep.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, that was a great feeling. After failing the wastewater last year, passing the water was good.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I also have paperwork here from Core Maine. Is that what this ordinance 674 is? Is that discussing the, okay, yeah. So, yeah.
So I noticed there's more radio read problems this month. Are we starting to see a lot of them go out or?
No, the problem is we couldn't get them forever. They finally just came in. They're on order.
Sycamore was a new construction, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So it wasn't like he was replacing a bad one.
but there were 3 to 4 that needed replaced throughout town. We just couldn't, I didn't have them, so I could
Gotcha.
about a year to get those radios. I've got 12 more on order. We still have some, but I went ahead and ordered them again because who knows?
And what are these radios? What does the radio portion cost by itself? I mean, just an estimate. I'm not gonna hold you to it. I'm just,
Well, I have it's here on the invoice, but this invoice is from February. $174.
okay. And that's something that wasn't on that's why we're having to adjust this ordinance, because now we have a radio portion that comes with the meter that we didn't have when these ordinances were. I don't think they've been updated in 12 years. We were talking the fees on these, so.
And these meters are more expensive. They're different as well.
So the meter itself is more, and then the radio portion is a whole nother thing that we've never put into our price.
I mean, if you haven't looked at it in 12 years, obviously there's,
Yeah,
even if it was the same thing, there's still
price increase.
huge increase.
So.
So I mean, if we want to keep discussing that, if on that invoice, so with the 1-inch meter, the meter couplings, the radio and the wire, it comes to about $475 each meter. And that was in February, so I mean, it's probably gone up since then, but I'm pretty sure that we're all below that. The 1-inch meter.
Why do page 1 and page 3 have different prices?
One is the current ordinance.
It's before and after, before amended. Then after amendment.
Okay, well, we've got,
So I took out that,
Water C.
the C, because we don't do the tapping.
so that's the $50 difference. Page 3, it has $500 for a 1-inch meter. On page 1, it has $550.
Okay, so on page 3, that section C is missing, is not there.
Oh, that was strike versus that. So here it's struck.
Okay, all right,
This is after we would vote what it would look like.
okay.
That was the tapping fees. It wasn't the equipment.
Okay,
I asked Nikki before the meeting the same question.
yes, I should have
We
remembered
just
that, I'm
haven't
sorry.
looked at it this way because we haven't done the muni code system for a while. Ordinances that are.
Brand new versus edited.
This is just an amendment to the.
So, yeah, basically, that's our committee report for this month, as we sat down and looked at these prices. And Travis and I are gonna recommend changing the 1-inch meter to 500 and the 2-inch meter to 1100. We don't hardly put 3/4 inch meters in anymore.
Nobody will install them new, but we do replace some.
Okay,
I believe there's still 4 at the water treatment plant.
okay.
I don't have any of those.
Is that a code issue? Why nobody will install them new, or?
Nobody wants a 3/4 inch
Okay,
in their house.
so
So this should say possible first reading. I'm sorry, not.
I don't see this as a true emergency. This is something we've just lacked on keeping up with, so.
Sure.
We can read this for 3 months and I don't think it. My question is, do we leave the 3/4 at 100? Obviously, we can't put one in for $100.
There's no way, yeah. I don't have prices on those. So.
Should we change the $100 to a different, we didn't talk about that because we didn't even think anybody was using them, but what if?
What if somebody does?
Well, but, and we don't know how much the ones that you have up there cost us, right?
You know, because those were there before I even started.
So there are 4 of them up there already.
What if somebody starts building a tiny home development or something and they don't need 1 inch or, stranger
Our
things.
planning commission.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't want us to get stuck having to give away $400 meters for $100 again.
Is there a comparable percentage increase with the, from the 1 and the 2s that maybe you could just guess on the 3?
Well, I can tell you this, from the 3/4 to the inch, your price is probably gonna be the same. I mean, if I look at a breaker and it's 15 amp and 20 amp.
Yeah.
The breaker's the same cost, like,
And the reader is going to be the same. The couplers will probably be the same. I mean, I wouldn't think there's a huge difference between.
I would just look-
3/4 inch.
What do you think?
I'd look at
Do
moving
you
it to
think there's a
500
chance anybody's gonna buy a 3/4 inch meter?
if they have to replace it, right?
That's on us anyways.
If we replace. it,
Once they
that's-
buy one, it's our responsibility to take care of it.
I guess the question moving forward, do we want anyone putting in a 3/4 inch service? Like,
The first 4 people get a deal. First 4 tiny houses. Because I get her point. They're already paid for. So it's
Yeah.
not like those are.
They are.
But I see making it 500. Just to make it
and
more
just say-
uniform.
Wouldn't hurt anything. Somebody
Yeah,
might
3.
look at this and see if maybe they would try and get it.
I was gonna say.
Right.
ooh, I can
could
save
see
myself
someone do that.
$400.
I would be
Yeah.
surprised if the price difference is very much in that size difference. I mean, the
That's
1
my
to 2
thoughts.
is double of everything. So
So do you want to change to like 1 inch and below is 500?
should
There
we,
you go.
Yeah, there you go.
or should we just put 500 on that line 1? For the 3/4 meter?
Up to 1 inch meter, you could say that too. Up to 1 inch meter.
Well, we have to amend this
Fittings.
before we start reading it. Do we want to amend this on the fly, or do you want to change this and bring it back
I'm
next?
gonna read it 3 times, so you
Yeah.
can, I can cross it out and do it however you want to have it, and then.
Is that
And
the
we can
only
still do
place,
first reading.
is that the only place in this ordinance we need to change it? I'd say we just change that one to 500.
That'd be the easiest.
Just that easy.
And then next month, I'll just give you a clean copy. Just did it this way so you could see the change.
So when we read this ordinance, do we have to say as amended? With the change of $500 for the 3/4 inch meter as well?
Yeah, it has to be read once. Like the entire thing read once.
Ready?
First paragraph only.
You're the long reader.
I'm not on the water committee.
I'll do it.
Just remember this.
I'll do
It's been on
it.
here twice. You only have to.
Yeah, you'll have to read the part.
So then we don't have to say as amended or anything. We can say as
Nikki, is it
read.
just the first paragraph?
First paragraph. I have to print the whole thing once.
Oh, okay,
You don't have to read more than the first paragraph.
okay. So first reading, move for introduction and passage of ordinance 674, which reads, an ordinance of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska to amend ordinance number 658 and to adopt chapter 12, article 4, section 140, items C through D, connection and tapping fees and provision for the reading of the same and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith and providing for an effective date. Stop, right? Is that right, Nikki? Okay. And is there a reason to note with,
Yeah, you could say letter C.
and noting with revision on D1, 3/4 inch meter plus fittings, $500.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for the first reading of for the passage of ordinance 674. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott Corney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Travis Green.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
All right. Okay. Thanks, James. Item D, Washington
Have a good
County.
Thanksgiving, James. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Washington County Sheriff's Report. Did anybody have anything? Or do we have a rep on the meeting? Nope. Well, if nobody has any questions or comments about the sheriff's report. Scott and Jason, you guys just had a meeting. I doubt you guys have anything new to do.
The new cars. Pretty much completed.
I don't know where they're at. We got the bills this month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do they have the new car back yet?
He is going to pick it up tomorrow.
So do we have the other one? Possession then already, or
I think you have to do one tomorrow. They have to take both of them.
take all and then take and
get it-
swap some?
Did you tell me you wanted lights on it?
I said I want it as tricked out as it can. I'll get it how we get it. I think.
That'd make your trips to the conferences in like Grand Island and Kearney a lot quicker if you can just put the lights on and go down the interstate.
All right, item C, nuisance property update.
You guys have this report in your. This yellow one is the one that you have a resolution in the packet for. You have photos of what that looked like at 4 o'clock this morning. will read you an email that he sent at 39 PM tonight. Property is cleaned up and all vehicles are plated. Multiple vehicles have been removed and no trailer in the street. Hope there are no further issues. So,
He must have just gotten plates.
he did. But some of those vehicles have flat tires, are not operable. So, I mean, he may have plated them, but I'm guessing they're, and 2 or 3 of them are parked in the yard.
Well, if they're on his property and they're plated, I don't think we can say anything about whether they move or not. The ones in the yard, that's against our ordinances.
The green highlighting means they took care of it all. Thank you.
Do we want to declare this place a nuisance or do we want to give him a chance to be in compliance with parking on a hard surface?
So this resolution gives him until December 5th. to be in compliance.
Just putting plates on them. My opinion, doesn't keep it looking like a junkyard back there still.
He said he did move some of the vehicles, or
He's
we'd
got
have to
the-
go look
He's got the
tomorrow.
ones off the street that were on the street, but now is there 1 or 2 in his yard?
At least 2, but he also moved that trailer, which I had gotten some other complaints about, that trailer was hanging out in the street a little bit.
So everything's in an alley then, or what?
Oh, yeah, this is the alley. This is taken from the alley, this picture here. Driving down the alley. So he's got 3 cars on the hard surface. And it looks like 1 or 2 of them are not. I didn't go by there today. I forgot.
He took these pictures on her way home.
Okay,
And this is on,
but as of last week, there was only 1 of these cars that had plates, so he's put some expense into plating them.
The vehicles would need to be on a hard surface or rock.
Vehicles need to be on a surface, hard surface, which, yeah, rock or pavement.
Right? That's how it's defined, right?
That's how we've always treated the meaning of hard surface.
so this is here.
Yeah, that is the. Yep. This is north.
Here's the pool.
Yeah. No, it's here. This is north, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah,
You can see that.
yeah, I just looked her up on my phone previously.
Yeah. Right there. Matt, on that one, what's currently there?
So down this alley.
It's that one's technically.
Yeah, that's Amazon.
But it's not in, I mean, I drove,
Yes.
so it's not in there. That one's on
Yeah.
the side yard.
Make a motion to pass resolution 11/21/2022. Chairman of the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Arlington, in regular session assembled at the Village Hall, Arlington, Nebraska, on this 21st day of November 2022. Hereby to resolve as follows. Whereas the village desires to declare nuisance pursuant to the village code of ordinance number 4/20/1824, and now therefore be it resolved that the following property located within the jurisdiction of the village of Arlington, Nebraska has been submitted to the village board. That's regular meeting on November 21st. 017 9 Avenue East, half lot 5 and lot 6, block 26, 2 PC 10, commonly known as 530 West Elm Street, Arlington, Nebraska, and be it further be resolved that the village board found at said meeting that said property at 530 West Elm Street, Arlington, Nebraska is declared to have nuisance upon it, contrary to the village's nuisance ordinance, and that said nuisance is ratified by this resolution. Be it finally resolved that the village hereby resolves and declares said property at 530 West Elm Street, Arlington, Nebraska, as a nuisance based on such evidence as provided and generally of all facts and circumstances around said property and its condition, and directs the owner to abate the nuisance by December 5th, 2022. The village clerk shall notify the nuisance officer to serve notice upon the violator forthwith. Passed today.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of resolution 1121-2022. No further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Henson,
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Cornell.
Aye.
Matt Cross.
Aye. Resolution 1221-2022 is passed and approved this 21st day of November, 2022.
So looking at the update, the rest of these then are they have a plan that you're working through with them. This is the first one where they're not following the plan.
We started working with him at the very.
No, I was just reading the notes there. Yeah. Yep. Nope. I get it. Thank you very much for your work. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it takes a lot of effort. I went through each one of these yesterday morning. Was bored on the couch and, I mean, you gotta hold everybody up to a high standard in this town. We don't want to. That's what it's all about. See, Odell got his 2 trailers moved out down below, so that's looking good.
The one isn't gone on the highway.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that one to
Did
disappear
everything
too.
get cleaned up? I haven't been down there.
I didn't really go look. I just noticed the trailers.
I took the dog down for a walk
Looks
yesterday and they were at the Bobcat putting the finishing touches on. I know they have, I don't know if that wooden fence is part of theirs too, if that's going bye-bye or. But they're making.
The
some-
fence doesn't concern me as much as
Right.
a shed full of junk.
Yeah. He's gaining on it, so he's making some effort.
I didn't notice. I would like to see how hard it was to get him out of there.
Okay.
I don't know why he
Like an
did that. I
easy-
know like last week he was doing the dirt work to get up the hill and then I don't know when they disappeared for sure. As far as the trailer house by the dog park, that's still in our deed buyout process, huh?
So the appraiser is working on it right now. So he finally turned in all of his paperwork. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see some.
Any other questions on the nuisance property update? If not, let's move on to parks. Any report?
Gosh. We passed email back and forth a little bit on a couple of projects. Let's see, what was that? We were discussing,
The Eagle Scout Shelter, is that something?
that's the one. Thank you. Clappers, Colby wants to proceed with the project. And so the next step is he needed a form signed that acknowledged that we would take possession of the shelter once the project is done. He needed to get that signed to go back to the scouts to get final approval from them. And then at the time, they knew they still had to bring in a set of plans for the board to review and approve. So basically, we gave him the green light saying, yep, we'll sign it, but you still need to bring it in for final approval. So I got the feeling it'd be next April, March, April, somewhere in there when it warmed up before he graduates in May. That's it. Illegal.
All right, anything else from parks? Let's see, let's move down to the library report.
You want to talk about?
Sure. Well, so I guess this kind of goes with C also. I'm sure everybody's heard by now that Deb was resigned as of December 31st as the librarian. Just wants to spend more time with her grandkids. So in trying to process who is responsible for hiring a new librarian, we checked the statutes for the library and found that maybe we aren't doing things exactly the way we're supposed to be doing them, as far as giving the library board the autonomy that they should have. So I talked with Allison today to try to find out why Rick had made the recommendation to change the way things were being done. And I think it sounds like it actually came from Allison to begin with, because she said there isn't enough financial oversight of the library board, and they were exceeding the budget and costing other departments money, and because they don't have a separate, they don't collect taxes, they don't get tax money specifically for the library, so the city funds them. So the statutes don't necessarily apply to them the same way that they would in a big city where people are paying a specific library tax that funds the public libraries. So they still need to be somewhat under the umbrella of the city, but not to the extent that you guys need to be approving all of their plans for purchases. Would still need to approve the payments for those the way you approve everything else, but they technically don't need to come to you guys to ask, can we buy curtains for the library, or can we buy a new table or something like that. But as the payment comes through, you guys would need to approve those payments, but there's still, it still gives you the oversight of their spending to make sure that they're staying within their budget and not taking money from other departments' budgets. That's how Allison explained it to me this afternoon.
Nikki, did she give any insight on the donations the library receives, and that can they operate with those independently?
No.
They can't, even that.
It all comes through us. If they were collecting their own tax dollars and financing themselves, then they would keep those donations. But it is just like if somebody donates to the cemetery, it has to come to the city, and then that just goes into our operating fund.
So we are operating correctly?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, for the most part. I mean, I think that they maybe just need to be informed that they have a little more autonomy than they have been having as far as deciding how they spend their budget. And the hiring is up to them, the wage is up to them with final approval from you guys. So.
As long as it's within budget, right?
Correct. So the budget is set already for this coming year. So there's not a lot they can do about that, but they definitely can come to you guys for the next fiscal year and say, you know, we want to hire someone who has a degree in, you know, media, and it will cost more money, whatever. I mean, they can come and ask for it, but ultimately you guys set the budget, so. Anyway, that's that.
I had a little conversation with Aaron tonight, and one of the questions that they have is, would we allow for them to have two librarians splitting the existing hours, meaning a weekend librarian and a weekday librarian, because they thought maybe it'd be easier to hire somebody with the few hours in a part-time position and then have a regular librarian during the week. And I said I would bring it up. See if you have any feelings on that.
I think based on what we just heard, if they can handle all these, let them make those decisions. We should be letting the library board make those decisions.
Statute says it right here. They have control of all expenditures, all money collected or donated to the credit of the library fund or of the renting and construction, supervision, care and custody of all grounds, rooms, buildings constructed.
But what Allison is saying is that those statutes don't fully apply to them because they aren't separate from the city, like
They don't have
some
their
public
bill.
libraries.
They don't have their rights. They don't have those things yet.
They don't collect their own taxes, so they're not a separate entity from the city. So those statutes aren't, the financial statutes aren't necessarily like the part where they,
So like if you break down property taxes in Omaha, there's actually a library tax on there that we don't have on our properties here, what the difference is.
yes. So they don't have that financial independence where they just run their own finances and give us a financial report every year because their finances run through the city. But they should be able to manage their own budget within, the line item that they have in the city budget that says this much goes to the library. They should have the autonomy to manage that amount.
So then I say we tell them to do what they can within the current budget. And next June, July, if they need changes, then we talk about it before we set the budget. Right.
I think so. The only one that's got me for a quandary is the wage ordinance that we spell out a librarian's pay. And one thing they talked about is, well, what if they paid somebody more for the weekday librarian and paid less for the weekend librarian? And I said, gosh, all we have is one librarian, our wage ordinance. Do they, again, have the autonomy to say, we're going to pay more than the wage ordinance and pay less for the other? Or is that because we do have an ordinance, do we have to follow?
You can amend the ordinance.
We'd have to amend the ordinance to do that.
They can ask you to amend the ordinance to pay a high schooler, whatever an hour and then
Yep.
pay someone else a little more.
Yeah, Nikki, it was a great find because that statute opened my eyes on, again, how much autonomy they could have.
And they're appointed still, right?
So that was kind of a,
That's what our ordinance says. You
That-
can be elected or you can have them be appointed. It says it right here.
right.
I don't remember what our ordinance says. I think we changed
So that
we
is,
changed the term not that long ago.
yes. So that's another thing that Alice, that probably we're gonna have to look at because you guys appointing them or them being elected puts them closer to where those statutes apply to them, which is not what we want. So we might have to look at, and we didn't get this in depth today, but we might have to look at a different method of how they get to be on the board. So I don't have that for you tonight. But for right now, we're not violating any statutes like it looked like maybe was happening, so.
So at this point, I would say we would have the library try and choose replacements and then we can approve them at a later date. And who knows what will change the information we find out in the coming weeks, so. All right, then I would suppose we should move down to C. And I would accept a motion with regret for the resignation of Deb Wesh as our librarian on the date of 12/31/22.
I motion with regret to accept the resignation of Deb Wesh as of December 31st, 2022.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McLean.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion and possible approval of beginning auditorium entryway remodel not to exceed budgeted cost of $10,000. We don't have anything on paper as far as estimates or anything yet, do we?
Oh, we're doing all the work ourselves. so
Okay. And that,
Material.
is that gonna include windows? I thought we'd talked one time about
This is just
getting
gonna-
windows to match. Okay,
This is just, I think we budgeted more for windows, so
okay,
there's no windows in the entryway. so.
okay.
It's pretty well told. Good time.
Good time to do it.
Get it done.
When they get to the flooring, we'll have to add because they'll do the flooring along the sides of the gym floor at the same time, right?
Yeah,
So we'll have to add that part.
Um,
That'll be weird.
okay. Heard something about the kitchen flooring too, that maybe we want to look at that too, so. Let's make sure we talk about that when we're doing the other ones. Do we need a motion for this, since it was budget? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the auditorium entryway remodel not to exceed $10,000.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for the approval of the auditorium entryway remodel not to exceed $10,000. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McLean.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Discussion about the interlocal agreement for the ball fields.
I don't have anything from them yet.
Okay,
They have a meeting December 7th here, which I'll bring it up then with them and make sure we have in our packet for the last meeting. And is that the main ball fields, that interlocal agreement, or the Bell Creek fields?
It's the,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Fairgrounds.
wrong one, my bad. I don't have that meeting, no.
okay. I was wondering why the school would meet here.
Nope, nope.
All right, so we'll discuss that more next month. Item F, cemetery. We did officially put Jeremy on the other committee, right? On the cemetery and the
oh,
parks committee.
sorry.
We'll get you top billing next
Okay.
month.
Tell them that when they're started.
We have nothing to report at this time.
All right,
Cemetery.
maybe he doesn't want his name on the bill. He doesn't even want his name on the bill this month then.
Do they get rolling on
They've
it?
got, yeah, they got all the pedestals all poured and the wires. I didn't go out there today. I'm hoping when it's nice, they put the lights in.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't been out there lately. Forgot where.
That'll be cool. All right, item G, administrative, A, clerk report. Anybody have any questions, comments, anything you wanted to tell us?
Both want to go to clerk school.
I don't have to go. Kate, I would like Kate to go. She would need to, they have those first few days that are for new clerks or clerks with less than 2 years of experience. So she would go Sunday and stay through Friday. If I go, it would just be Wednesday through Friday. The only reason I would want to go is to work towards that certified municipal clerk. Because I'll still need to do the finance conference in the fall. So I don't need to do it for the hours because I'll get them in the fall. But I would have to close the office Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Most John wants to answer phones.
Cold outside, John. It'd be okay sitting in here, wouldn't it?
I know I said something at our employee appreciation dinner, but I just want to state that I'm really happy to see you graduate from the leadership, the Washington County Leadership Program. I've already seen a lot of connections that she's made. They're going to be beneficial to us, and I would recommend any employer in the county to send their people to that. I think it was surprising to me, the depth of scope of a lot of the things they did. I had no idea.
Every 2 years.
I'd like to see us send someone to the Fremont one. Or Kate.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good maybe to have Kate do that one.
Yeah. There's no
Because you
reason.
already have a built-in connection probably, huh? No?
Doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, I mean, the, Kate would probably benefit from it a lot more. And that one they do every year, so I do think that they've already closed.
They just closed the applications.
I mean, I could always find out if they have one.
I'm good with you both going to clerk school, to be honest with you. I think it's just good. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but
I would agree.
Okay, let's make sure we're not skipping anything here. We've read the clerk's report, permit report. I didn't see anything. We don't need to. Anybody have anything on the permit report they want to discuss? Item C, discussion and possible approval of switching to G-Works for payment processing.
Yeah. So, they have been having some trouble with Forte, the payment processing company that they have, and so they have started doing their own payment processing. And we have the option right now, I don't think I have it in there, but right now they have a promotion where if we do this by December, like the beginning of December, I can't remember what day, we get a $500 credit towards our 2023 fees. I have a feeling that this is gonna be like everything else, where eventually we have to do this anyway. But it doesn't look like the cost to us is not really more other than those chargebacks, which
There's a $1 per transaction fee that's not on the old one. Is that right?
on the credit cards.
Yeah, so current rates with Forte credit card is 2.75 with a minimum of $2. And G-Works is gonna be 2.49 plus $1 per transaction, right?
So the customers pay the credit card fees, so it won't cost us anymore.
Okay,
It might encourage more people to do the electronic. But I mean, it won't be a higher cost to us. The ACH might actually end up being lower because most of our ACH transactions are 55 cents.
Looks like it's cheaper or equal on everything, except with that $1, give or take what that might look like.
Yeah, so I figured if it's not gonna cost us,
and probably not that many people pay with credit card, do they?
no, it's getting less and less as they're discovering that they have a fee.
That it's cheaper, yeah.
Yep, and we tell them, we tell every single one of them, if they put a checking account number in there, it doesn't cost them.
So what do you need from us?
To approve,
Is there a fee to change over something we're missing here that would,
nope, they're not charging the implementation, they're not charging an implementation fee on it. So I think they're having enough trouble with Forte that they just want everybody in their system.
And we don't have any
So-
kind of contract with Forte that we're gonna forfeit anything. Okay,
So it's,
Well, there's
yeah, go ahead.
she said that they'll run side by side, but G-Works will be processing everything and Forte won't. So we're not gonna be paying fees to Forte and it'll just drop off.
Okay.
Is how she explained it to me, because I did ask that question.
So will it switch over like automatic?
Where we were
Or
waiting,
will-
that we were gonna.
We won't have to do anything. We,
Except-
people won't have to go back out and re-sign up again like we did before, or whatever.
Yeah, that was just because we were switching from a completely unrelated system.
System, it's the same system, just a different process. Got it.
So you just need a motion to switch to G Works for payment processing.
Yes. Yes, please.
I'll motion to approve G-Works for payment processing.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve switching to G Works for payment processing. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Yeah.
Travis Kramer. Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, you would like us to approve that as presented right there? That's what you were wanting.
Yeah, if we're both going,
I think Kate's been a great addition and I think we keep her trained.
it would be a huge benefit to her and give her some networking and
That's for both though, right? The 889.
889
that is
for
the
both,
total
yeah.
for both.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve sending Kate to the Clerk Institute and Academy and Nikki to the Clerk Academy, March 13th to 17th for the total cost of $889 plus mileage, lodging and meals stipend. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Kraus.
Aye.
And I probably would take the Tahoe if we have it by then. So I wouldn't give
So are you
up.
guys ride together or no?
Well, she'll go Sunday.
Oh, that's right. She said you won't have to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll only be mileage for one of us.
Did we get everything else covered? I don't see anything.
This John had a report for us.
Well, the only thing I would require is I didn't hire someone. Taylor.
Companion.
And yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that, but he seems to be doing well. He's adjusting slowly but surely. So get him his CDL hopefully before next summer. He's studying on that. Driving, but yeah.
Is he just gonna go through the courthouse or is there a school that he has to go to
I
now?
don't think you have to do that yet. So
Okay.
I'm gonna check in a little bit more, but I don't think that that's required. Yeah, not for our,
Remind me, there's somebody that does training around.
yeah, I think I know.
You know who that is. Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
You know, from our.
Yes, and that may be worth looking into because I think it's easier than catching all the courthouse times, so. Well, if there's no other discussion. We're down to item 8.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. John, I got scared the clock didn't turn back up there.
Remember last year we had discussion. about the ACH, credit card fees and all that stuff. So we were gonna observe it and we were gonna come back and
We're gonna look at it a year from now or whatever. So is that